The Indus Script Mystery. Between 3300 and 1300 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization built sophisticated cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa in what's now Pakistan and northwest India. They left behind thousands of artifacts covered in symbols that nobody can read. These inscriptions appear on seals, pottery, and tablets, usually in short sequences combined with animal figures. The problem is that most texts contain fewer than 5 symbols, which makes pattern recognition nearly impossible. There's no Rosetta Stone equivalent to help decode the meaning, and scholars can't even agree on whether it represents a true language or just administrative markers. Some researchers like Aravindam Mahadevan suggest links to Dravidian languages, while others think the symbols might be purely pictographic with no linguistic content. The script could be logographic, syllabic, or something entirely different. Until archaeologists find longer texts or bilingual inscriptions, this writing system remains locked away from our understanding. The Late Bronze Age collapse. Around 1200 BCE, powerful kingdoms across the eastern Mediterranean simultaneously crumbled within roughly 50 years. The Hittite Empire in Anatolia disappeared completely, Mycenaean Greece fell into a dark age, and Egypt's new kingdom barely survived devastating attacks. Cities burned, palaces were destroyed, and complex trade networks that had existed for centuries vanished. Archaeological evidence shows a perfect storm of disasters hitting all at once. Climate data reveals severe droughts that would have caused widespread famine and forced populations to migrate. Egyptian records mention mysterious sea peoples who raided coastal cities, though we still don't know who they were or where they came from. Some cities show signs of internal rebellion rather than external invasion. The Mycenaean writing system called Linear B disappeared entirely, and large-scale construction stopped for generations. What's particularly puzzling is why these civilizations couldn't recover. Previous disasters hadn't caused such total collapse. The Voynich manuscript. This 240-page illustrated book from the early 15th century contains a writing system that has defeated every expert who's tried to crack it. Named after Wilfrid Voynich, who purchased it in 1912, the manuscript shows detailed drawings of unidentifiable plants, astronomical charts, and strange figures bathing in green liquid. The text appears organized into sections covering herbal remedies, astronomy, biology, and pharmaceuticals. But nobody knows for certain because the language remains completely unknown. What makes cryptographers lose sleep is that the text shows statistical patterns consistent with natural language. It has grammar and syntax, yet it doesn't match any known writing system. Even code breakers at the NSA have tried and failed to decipher it. Carbon dating confirms the parchment dates to the 1400s, which rules out modern hoaxes. Some theories suggest it's an elaborate medical guide written in a constructed language, while others think it might be an encrypted alchemical text protecting secret. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In July 1518, a woman named Frau Trophea walked into a Strasbourg street and began dancing without stopping. Within days, dozens joined her, and within a month, around 400 people were dancing uncontrollably. Some danced for days without rest, and several reportedly died from exhaustion, strokes, or heart attacks. Local authorities thought dancing would cure the affliction, so they built stages and hired musicians, which only made things worse. Modern scientists have proposed ergot poisoning, a fungus that grows on rye and causes convulsions and hallucinations. But this doesn't explain the coordinated, rhythmic movements. The leading theory now points to mass psychogenic illness triggered by extreme stress. Strasbourg had recently suffered through famine, disease, and poverty, creating conditions for collective psychological breakdown. What's particularly disturbing is that this wasn't an isolated incident. Similar dancing manias occurred throughout medieval Europe, suggesting something about the social and psychological conditions of the time, which made people vulnerable to this bizarre phenomenon. The Black Dahlia murder. On January 15, 1947, Elizabeth Short's mutilated body was found in a vacant Los Angeles lot. The 22-year-old aspiring actress had been severed at the waist, her face slashed, and her body carefully posed. The media nicknamed her the Black Dahlia, after her dark clothing and a popular film called The Blue Dahlia. The LAPD launched its largest investigation ever, questioning over 150 suspects and following countless leads that went nowhere. Newspapers received letters from people claiming to be the killer, though these were likely hoaxes seeking attention. The case generated theories involving doctors, ex-lovers, and Hollywood insiders who might have had surgical knowledge to inflict such precise injuries. Former LAPD detective Steve Hodel spent years building a case against his own father, Dr. George Hodel, presenting circumstantial evidence linking him to the crime. However, no physical evidence has ever definitively connected anyone to Elizabeth Short's murder, and the case remains officially unsolved: the D.B. Cooper hijacking. On November 24, 1971, a man calling himself Dan Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 in Portland. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a flight attendant a note claiming he had a bomb and demanded $200,000 plus 4 parachutes. The airline complied, and after landing in Seattle, Cooper released the passengers but kept the crew. He ordered the plane to fly toward Mexico City at low altitude and slow speed. Then, somewhere over Washington's dense forests, he opened the rear stairs and jumped into a stormy November night. Despite one of the FBI's longest investigations, Cooper was never found. In 1980, a boy discovered $5,800 of the ransom money on the Columbia River banks. But this only deepened the mystery. How did the money get there if Cooper survived? The hijacking required significant aviation knowledge and nerves of steel. Theories range from experienced military paratrooper to desperate amateur who likely didn't survive the jump into freezing rain and darkness. The Yuba County 5 case. On February 24, 1978, 5 men with mild intellectual disabilities attended a basketball game in Chico, California. Instead of driving home to Yuba City, they somehow ended up 70 miles in the opposite direction, deep in the snowy Plumas National Forest. Their car was found abandoned on a mountain road, stuck in snow but completely functional with enough gas to continue. Even stranger, no one had attempted to free the vehicle. 4 months later, Ted Wyer's body was found in a Forest Service trailer, starved and wrapped in blankets despite the trailer containing food and heating supplies. He'd lost 80 to 100 pounds before dying. The remains of Sterling, Madruga, and Hubner were found scattered in nearby woods. Gary Mathias, who was schizophrenic and off his medication, was never found. What made them drive into the mountains? Why abandon a working car? Why didn't Wyer eat the food available to him? These questions have never been answered. The WOW signal. On August 15, 1977, Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope detected a 72-second signal from the constellation Sagittarius that made astronomer Jerry Eman write, "Wow," on the printout. The signal was extraordinarily strong and narrowband, characteristics typical of artificial rather than natural origin. Most importantly, it occurred near 1420 megahertz, the hydrogen line frequency that scientists believe alien civilizations might use for communication because hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. The signal's intensity was 30 times stronger than normal background noise, and it bore the hallmarks of originating from deep space rather than Earth. Despite numerous attempts using more powerful telescopes, scientists have never detected it again. Recent theories suggest it might have come from a comet releasing hydrogen clouds, but this explanation remains controversial and doesn't fully account for the signal's unique characteristics. The Vela incident. On September 22, 1979, an American Vela satellite designed to detect nuclear explosions recorded a double flash of light over the South Atlantic Ocean near the Prince Edward Islands. The signature matched exactly what you'd expect from a nuclear detonation: 2 distinct flashes with specific timing and intensity patterns. Intelligence analysts immediately suspected a covert nuclear test, with South Africa and Israel as the prime candidates, possibly conducting a joint operation. A U.S. government panel led by physicist Jack Ruina concluded the flash might have been equipment malfunction or a meteoroid striking the satellite, but many experts disputed this finding. The Vela satellites had successfully detected 41 previous nuclear tests without error, making sudden malfunction suspicious. Additionally, trace amounts of radioactive iodine, 131, were detected in Australian sheep shortly after the incident, and some seismic data appeared consistent with a low-yield nuclear explosion. No country has ever admitted responsibility, and declassified documents continue to fuel debate about what really happened. The Max Headroom Signal hijacking. On November 22, 1987, Someone wearing a max headroom mask hijacked 2 Chicago television broadcasts. The first intrusion interrupted WGN-TV's sports broadcast for 30 seconds before engineers regained control. Later that evening, the hijacker struck again during Doctor Who on WTTW, and this 90-second broadcast was deeply weird. The masked figure waved around, made nonsensical statements mocking sportscaster Chuck Swirsky, and referenced obscure pop culture while standing before corrugated metal mimicking the Max Headroom show's background. The broadcast ended with the person exposing their backside before cutting off. Despite FBI and FCC investigations, nobody was ever identified. Pulling off this kind of signal intrusion required sophisticated broadcasting equipment and technical knowledge, leading many to suspect someone with insider access to television infrastructure. The case remains unsolved and has become legendary in hacking culture, remembered for its surreal and unsettling imagery. Cicada 3301. In January 2012, an anonymous group posted a cryptographic puzzle on 4chan, inviting highly intelligent individuals to solve increasingly complex challenges. The puzzles required knowledge of cryptography, steganography, ancient philosophy, and obscure literature. Clues led participants across the internet and to physical locations in cities including Seattle, Paris, Warsaw, and Seoul, where posters contained QR codes and additional encrypted messages. Solving one layer revealed another, with references to works by William Blake and medieval manuscripts. Cicada 3301 returned with new puzzles in 2013 and 2014, then vanished completely. Speculation about the organization's purpose ranges from intelligence agency recruitment to a test by privacy activists or a sophisticated alternate reality game. Despite intense investigation by cryptography experts and internet sleuths, nobody has definitively identified who created Cicada 3301 or what happened to people who successfully completed the puzzles. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 departed Kuala Lumpur for Beijing, carrying 239 people. About an hour into the flight, communications ceased and the aircraft deviated sharply from its planned route. Satellite data revealed the plane made deliberate course changes and flew for approximately 7 hours before presumably crashing in the southern Indian Ocean. The search became the most expensive in aviation history, covering 120,000 square kilometers of remote ocean floor. Starting in 2015, debris confirmed as coming from the aircraft washed up on shores across the Indian Ocean and East Africa, proving it crashed but revealing nothing about why. Investigators examined the pilots' lives thoroughly, particularly Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, but found no conclusive evidence of hijacking or deliberate action. Theories now include catastrophic mechanical failure, onboard fire, oxygen deprivation, or deliberate pilot action, but without the flight recorders, we may never know what happened during those final hours. So, which of these mysteries intrigues you the most? And which other mystery do you think fits this list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed diving into these unsolved cases, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content like this. Until next time, stay curious.